Hello, Cheryl.
Hello, Eunice.
Thank you so much for being here, for being with me on Making the Cut.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, are you ready for a nice, awesome ride in this i4?
Definitely ready.
Okay, let's go. Now, Cheryl, GRAB was pretty much founded with the belief that a technology company can run profitably as well as create sustainable impact. So tell me a little bit about what sustainability means to GRAB.
We're on that journey to get to triple bottom line.
Yes.
And so for us, what we believe is that as a business, we must be financially sustainable. We must create positive social impact.
Right.
And at the same time, we must be kind to the environment. And when I think about our mission and the reason why we exist, it's really about creating economic empowerment for Southeast Asia, right? So, if you're a driver partner, we want to give you an opportunity to earn more money. For a lot of small businesses, we want to give them that opportunity to reach consumers that they've never been able to reach before. But as a business, we also need to do this at scale.
Yes.
We do it in 400 cities and we need to do it profitably.
400?
Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah,
and now that's really scale.
Yeah, and we also need to do it profitably, right?
Right.
And we need to do this in a way that is good for the environment, especially in recent years. We've really seen the impact of climate change. If you think about last year, Malaysia had really bad flooding.
Yes.
Really terrible.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see all the effects that are happening now, right?
So I think sustainability for us really just means, as a successful business, we need to be good for the people that we serve, good for the community, but also good for the environment.
Absolutely. I know you also have launched the Just Grab Green service, right?
Yes.
Which is fantastic. Now, tell me a little bit about that, and also what are some of the other sustainable initiatives that your customers can look forward to?
Okay, so Just Grab Green is a pilot that we launched in central Singapore. And what it does is it allows you, as a consumer on your commute, you can book a electric vehicle or an EV, a lower emission vehicle for your ride.
Okay.
And what we've seen from the pilot is that in this few months that we were operating, over 150,000 rides.
Oh,
so
wow.
Very
That's
encouraging.
fantastic.
Yeah, very encouraging. And so we decided to make it a permanent feature. So I think, recently we launched what we call the eco-friendly toggle.
Okay.
And basically what it means is just,
that's right.
when you turn it on, we'll always prioritize a EV or a lower emission vehicle for you.
Okay.
Our drivers will definitely transition a lot easier if they see that strong consumer preference. And so I think this is just one of the small steps that we can do. And at the same time, we also have a carbon offset feature.
Okay.
So every time you take a Grab ride, you can offset your emission.
Fantastic.
So that's launched, and now we're about to launch in a couple of months that same feature, that same carbon offset feature for our delivery business. So when you order food or do a delivery, you can offset that as well.
Now, I just want to ask you, because a lot of people probably would have this on their mind when you talk about sustainability sometimes, right? And people say, well, is that sustainable financially, right? So what is your answer to that? I mean, when you talk about sustainable initiatives, how does it help your triple bottom line, and does it at all?
Yeah, I guess the short answer is all these programs, everything that we're doing in this space has to become sustainable in the long run, right?
Okay.
But I think today, it's a bit of a mixed bag. So for carbon offset, the way we think about sustainability for that particular feature isn't so much for our business, but for the consumer.
Right.
It needs to be affordable so that they can continue to do it consistently.
Right.
And so for them, it's really affordable. It's really sustainable for them. And then, for our drivers, at this point of time, when you're talking about EVs, the total cost of ownership is still higher than ICE. Right?
Yes.
So in those circumstances, there's quite a lot that we need to do in terms of incentivizing the driver to make that transition, working with partners so that we can provide charging that is more affordable.
So we are sitting, of course, in a BMW i4.
Yes.
This is a fully electric vehicle. We're talking about EVs. This car has zero CO2 emissions. Also, it was built with 100% green energy. So it's quite amazing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so impressive.
Yeah, you're kind of
I'm
driving.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's fast. And you're driving guilt-free, right? In that sense. So this is a very, very good choice. and everything surrounding, you're talking about the entire supply chain, right?
Yeah.
That is green and that's used green energy. So let's talk, for the company, for instance, right? When do you think EVs will be the de facto ride for Grab customers?
Right.
I mean, I know we're talking about 400 cities, but when do you
Yeah.
think that will happen?
It's a country to country sort of answer. So
Okay.
in Singapore, where the government is very clear that by 2040, all vehicles will be 100% cleaner energy vehicles. I think
The new vehicles, yeah.
we definitely they're going to move either to hybrid or EV by 2040, 100%.
Yeah.
We aim to do it actually by 2030.
Okay.
So by 2030, we hope to transition all our drivers to cleaner energy vehicles, which is 10 years ahead of the country's goal. So that's our aim.
Now, you have this like amazing programs surrounding sustainability. You also have many community partners,
Yeah.
and you pretty much work with workers in the gig economy,
Yeah,
right? And all these
yeah.
independent contractors. How do you get them to kind of buy in, in your efforts towards the push that you have towards sustainability? How do you get everybody on board,
Yeah.
your community partners?
For most of us actually, a car sometimes is a status symbol, and sometimes could be a bit of a luxury, right? But for our driver partners, it's how they make income. It's how they make a living.
Yes.
And so I think for them, there are many things that they have to consider before they make that transition, and to some degree, it is a far more logical sort of like decision-making process,
Of course,
right?
yes. Because
So-
I mean, it's a livelihood.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a livelihood.
A few things are very important. Things like the product itself, the car. Can it fit at least 4 passengers comfortably?
Yeah.
Is it safe? Can I put luggage in the boot at least with maybe a stroller?
Yeah.
Because for airport rides, right? So they think about the product, and our drivers drive 7 times more than an average person.
Oh, yeah, that's
like
right.
230 kilometers a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
they, as you can imagine, they have a lot of they will have a lot of range anxiety, right? They'll wonder
Yes.
whether how long can this battery last,
Yes.
and if I have to charge, how long will I need to be in a charging station? Because time spent charging the car is an opportunity cost to earn an income.
Absolutely.
So I think if we can bring all of that to parity, if we can work with many ecosystem players to make that happen, I think that transition will be a lot easier.
When you talk about sustainability, you can't just talk about it from just one point of view, right? You
Yeah.
have to see it. You have to see it from the kind of the everyday person's point of view, and the idea of inclusivity, the idea of the fact that it's not. Sustainability shouldn't be a luxury.
Yeah,
Right. It should
exactly.
be something that everybody can attain.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And everybody
absolutely.
can also make good choices towards.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many aspects that you have to work with, and what is the sense that you're getting though from the ground, from your partners, whether it's your food partners or your delivery drivers? What's the sense that you're getting?
They're very open to it, but I think there's still a lot of practical considerations. But I think if we can get it close to parity, there will be adoption. Because
Okay.
I mean, I think we're at a stage, fortunately, in a world where nobody debates whether climate change is real.
Yeah.
So I think now we just need to make it a bit more inclusive so that
Yeah.
that transition can happen smoothly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of like the delivery drivers, right? In Singapore, we've had stricter enforcement on e-bikes and e-scooters. So, what are some of the strategies that Grab has in terms of kind of lowering the carbon emissions of the delivery drivers?
What we saw was, some drivers transition into motorbikes,
Okay.
but a bulk of them actually transition into bikes and walkers.
Okay.
50% of our total delivery base in Singapore are either on bikes, bicycles, or walkers.
50%.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that sense, I think it was still okay. But I think at a platform level, we're always looking at how we can be more efficient, whether it's for our delivery riders or transport, right? So I think it's a combination of, we've built our own mapping solution, because we can collect a lot of data from our drivers, and also batching orders.
Okay.
So delivery riders doesn't need to if there's orders that are pretty much on the same route, one driver can take it instead of 2 cars or bikes doing it.
Okay.
So I think that's how we kind of use technology to help reduce carbon emission through our platform.
Technology really can assist.
Oh, definitely.
Not just in sustainability, which we know it is an enabler, but it's also in how you can better the livelihood of
Yeah.
the riders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, I think it creates efficiency, which is great. It creates more income opportunities. And I think the other thing that our app can do is, as a delivery rider, I can decide whether I want to do food or I want to do, document delivery or I want to do groceries. So I think a lot of that can be sort of routed together, creating even more efficiency and sort of earning opportunities.
You speak so passionately about sustainability. So why are you so passionate about this?
So I love diving. I've been diving for maybe 11 years.
Oh,
and
really?
I've done over 1,000 dives.
Wow! That's a lot of dives.
And in a decade, you can really see some places sort of like deteriorate in terms of like biodiversity, lots more pollution.
Yeah, the coral reef,
Yeah.
especially, and coral reef generation is
Yeah.
very, very hard.
Slow and hard and
Yes.
so many other factors, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, when I think about sustainability, I think of it as, like I want to enjoy life, I want to enjoy the planet, but I also want to leave it in a good condition for
Yeah.
the next generation.
Which is the definition of sustainability, right?
Yeah.
It's not to compromise the next generation's needs.
Yeah.
Even though we have needs of our generation, but we mustn't compromise the ability of the next generation. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
It has to be government, it has to be corporation driven. But at the end of the day, all these things, ecosystems, and are also, these ecosystems are also made up by individuals,
Yeah.
right? So what can we do?
Yeah, so I think, individually, I think that's the most high impact thing that you can do. But also the other thing is to push governments, to push companies to be more conscious about the impact that businesses have on the environment. Because I think that has the biggest impact, right? I think governments, regulation, businesses all
Yeah.
coming together to build a more sustainable ecosystem is what really will make this happen. So I think activism in some shape or form is truly very powerful. It could be, like you're sitting at home and you just sign a petition. It could be you involving yourself in planting trees, talking to your HR manager.
And
asking-
everybody has a platform
Yeah.
now, right? On
Yeah.
social media as well.
Yeah. So I
kind
think
of-
that opportunity is there, and every small bit kind of counts. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's such a nice way to end a great interview, by really refocusing on the fact that every little bit counts and every one of us can make a difference.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, it's fantastic. Thank you,
Thank
Cheryl.
you.
I mean, thanks for the advice. Thank you for your passion and your enthusiasm, sustainability for the company and what the company is doing. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Irene.
making the cut.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.